Ambedkar's views on democracy. According to Dr. Ambedkar, democracy is not merely a form of government. It is primarily a mode of associated living, of conjoint communicated experience. It is essentially an attitude of respect and reverence towards fellow men. This clearly showed that Ambedkar stood for the concept of democracy. Dr. Ambedkar stated that certain conditions are necessary for the successful working of democracy, which are as follows. First, equality. Ambedkar's ideal society was based on liberty, equality, and fraternity, but he gave primary importance to equality because he believed that if it is denied, everything else will be denied in society. In India, due to Chaturvarnya system, society was divided into caste. As a result, the social and legal norms of society was based on inequality. So, to attain equality, discrimination on the basis of religion, culture, and norms in society should be eradicated. Therefore, he opposed inequality and emphasized equality as one of the necessary conditions for the success of democracy. Second, two-party system. He held the view that for successful working of democracy, a strong opposition was essential. He believed that two parties are necessary to keep the government from being despotic. He also held the view that those who were in power had to seek fresh mandate from the people every 5 years and should make way for others if they lose the trust of the people. Therefore, without two-party system, there can be no democracy. Third, equality in law and administration. Ambedkar observed that administration in India was completely in the hands of the Hindus, whose aim was to discriminate against the untouchables by denying and depriving them not only of the benefits of law but also the protection of law against tyranny and oppression. He believed that there must not only be equality before law but also equality of treatment in administration. In India, according to Vedic culture, law and administration was based on caste system. Hence, there was injustice. So, Ambedkar demanded reservation for the depressed classes in various services in order to change the composition of the administration, which in turn would boost up the morale of the lower class. Therefore, he was in favor of administration because he believed that it should be responsible and impartial. Fourth, no tyranny of majority. In a democracy, the party which secures majority forms the government. and the party in minority forms the opposition. Ambedkar believed in free and fair discussion in Parliament, where the minority party should be heard and treated with respect and dignity. Ambedkar held that the opposition party should cooperate with the ruling party and provide constructive suggestions and criticism in matters of governance. The majority party thus should not impose its tyranny over the minority. Sixth, moral order. Democracy requires the existence of a moral order in society. The legislature passes the laws and the executive implements them. The laws cannot achieve success unless there is morality in society. Therefore, Ambedkar believed that politics is not about the game of power, but it is a mission to bring an ideal society for the people. If the society should have morality and treat people equally, the politician should be sincere to his duty and should put welfare of the people first. Seventh, public awareness. According to Ambedkar, public awareness means people should be agitated when there is a wrongdoing, no matter who the sufferer is. In India, when Dalits were suppressed, the non-Dalits should have taken up their cause and liberated them from injustice. This did not happen due to lack of public awareness. If the attitude of the public changed, then it would be possible for building a democratic society for all Indians. Thus, Ambedkar believed that these conditions would help remove the existing evils in the body politic and establish a conducive social and economic order for democracy to thrive for all citizens. Ambedkar's views on parliamentary democracy. After securing independence, democracy was adopted, and after several discussions in the Constituent Assembly, it was decided by the members of the Constituent Assembly to adopt parliamentary democracy. According to Ambedkar, parliamentary democracy prevailed from Buddha's time. The evidence is available in the suktas of Mahaparinibbana. But unfortunately, this parliamentary democracy was replaced by autocratic monarchies for several years. When India decided to adopt parliamentary democracy, people in India regarded it as a Western concept, and therefore Ambedkar felt that it was essential to educate the Indian masses about the meaning, benefits, and purpose of parliamentary democracy. Ambedkar pointed out factors which are essential in a parliamentary democracy. First, no hereditary ruler. The government is elected by the people for a certain period of time, and the people have the power to change the government. Thus, there is no place for hereditary rule. Second, laws made by representatives. The laws are framed by the representatives of people in Parliament. In a parliamentary democracy, the affairs of the people are carried on in the name of the head of the state, and the government is carried on by the elected representatives of the people. Third, head of the state advised by ministers. The President of India, who is the head of the state, is advised by the Council of Ministers. The Prime Minister and the Council of Ministers must go back to the people every 5 years to obtain fresh renewal of people's confidence. Apart from this, there are other features which are regarded as pillars on which parliamentary democracy exists. Fourth, functional opposition. In a parliamentary democracy, it is necessary to have a functional opposition because opposition is the key to a free political life, and without it, no democracy can function. Sixth, free and fair elections. It is through elections that people freely choose their representatives to the legislature. Thus, elections are necessary for peaceful transfer of power from one government to another without bloodshed. Thus, according to Ambedkar, the role of the people, a strong opposition, and a free and fair election will help in the realization of parliamentary democracy. If parliamentary democracy fails, then it will result in rebellion, anarchy, and communism. So if parliamentary democracy has to prevail in our country, then it is essential to cherish this form of government in true spirit and to work for it. Why did Ambedkar advocate parliamentary democracy? Ambedkar observed that in a parliamentary democracy, the legislature expresses the voice of the people. The executive is bound to obey the legislature, and the judiciary controls and keeps both of them within prescribed limits. This brings to the people the right to liberty, property, and pursuit of happiness, and therefore parliamentary democracy has the hallmarks of a popular government and is based on human principles, and therefore Ambedkar advocated parliamentary democracy. On the other hand, Ambedkar has also pointed out the reasons for the failure of parliamentary democracy. He believed that it can be wrong ideology or wrong organization or both. Let us find the reasons. A. One factor that ruined parliamentary democracy is the ideal of freedom of contract, where there is inequalities of the parties in the contract. B. The second wrong ideology that has ruined parliamentary democracy is that the failure to realize that political democracy cannot succeed when there is no social and economic democracy. C. The third wrong ideology is that parliamentary democracy has a passion for liberty but fail to recognize the significance of equality and to strike a balance between equality and liberty. D. It is not just wrong ideology, but it is also wrong organization, where all political societies are divided into two classes, the rulers and the ruled. As a result, the rulers are always drawn from the ruling class, and the class that is ruled never becomes the ruling class. People do not govern themselves. They establish a government and leave it to govern them, forgetting that it is not their government. Thus, parliamentary democracy has failed to benefit the downtrodden classes, and it is they who are responsible for their appalling indifference. Thus, Ambedkar wanted to make democracy safe for the common man and for the good of his country. To Ambedkar, democracy is not a gift of nature, it's a habit of social living and can be acquired by the people themselves for their emancipation and well-being.